So here we are. We're at the end of our day. Technology is a wonderful thing, allowing us to connect and to share and be open and transparent across the continent and beyond. So we've had a really, really interesting day. This morning, some of the key things that we heard were about, integrated reporting implementation in the public sector is ongoing, and we are behind the private sector. No surprises there for us. And integrated reporting is about integrated process, integrated thinking. You need to think broadly, you need to work broadly, and you need to report broadly. It's about value, performance, and often thinking outside the organisation. So, we got into conversations about the supply chain. Internal audit's role varies depending on the maturity of the process and the thinking. There isn't one size fits all in the role, but what part can we play as internal auditors? How can we work with external audit on this? And we need to think about the 3 A's. Advocate, be an ambassador, advise, show knowledge, and ultimately give assurance. And we need to integrate new skills potentially into our audit teams, both internal and external, to make sure that this works. And one of my key takeaways from today, we need to be more sexy in our communication and think about the 3 C's. We need to be concise, we need to be comprehensible, and we need to show curiosity. And we need to collaborate with other functions. We need to think about who we need to collaborate with internally: finance, procurement, internal control, our risk managers. And we also, as we've just been hearing again in this afternoon's sessions, we need to think about our collaboration between internal audit and external audit. It's continuous during the year. It's a combined effort, and communications are a must. We've got to build that trust, and we've got to be transparent. So they were our takeaways from this morning, but some of them will sound very familiar from the work this afternoon. So what have we heard about this afternoon? We've heard about how we can use AI to increase the scope and flexibility, both in looking at documents and in looking at, rather than sampling, going across whole populations in our audit work. There are real benefits in allowing us to embed risk management and a risk culture. Take specific reports to the general, give more insight, work across silos, and make things easier to understand. Artificial intelligence is about giving auditors superhuman skills, and it's complementary to our human work as auditors. It allows us to do value-added work rather than to replace us. And as that evolves, our work gets more interesting and more insightful. And then thinking about the role of external audit and internal audit for the European funds. We've got a lot of similarities in the work that we do, whatever work we're doing in these areas, but it can differ. It can differ depending on the nation that we're working in. And, in many ways, a lot of the things are traditional, reviewing internal controls, thinking about accountability. But there are also other things that we need to think about. I have no exposure, for example, to external audit standards, but colleagues who work in the audit of the funds do. There's a lot that we can do to facilitate collaboration, sharing plans, sharing methodologies, sharing our checklists across member states. There is value in having bilateral meetings, but there's also value in quickly picking up the phone or sending somebody a quick email or an instant message and asking for some help and support there and again on the spot. And we always come back to the thought that when we do this work and provide this assurance, we've got to protect our independence and our objectivity. They're key for us if we're internal auditors or external auditors. But I think for me, the biggest thing that has come out of today is all of those ideas around cooperation. Ultimately, we've got very similar objectives, and that thought of us as ultimately being one team that's open and honest, that's transparent, that communicates well with each other and between ourselves, and that has those common targets, I think is really important. And whatever type of work we're doing in the audit sphere, something that we can take away from today. So I hope you've enjoyed the presentations and the sessions as much as I have. I've learned a great deal today, and there's things that I'm going to go back to GIA, my agency, and find out more about because it's piqued my interest. And I hope that you do the same, that idea of staying curious. But before we go, We wouldn't have had a session today without speakers who've been prepared to give their time, share their knowledge, be willing to share with us, and the opportunities are still there on the platform to connect with them after the event. So, as the slide says, thank you. Networking is available at this event. Please make the most of it. We've been cut off from each other for so long in a physical sense while we face COVID. The technology is there. Let's use it to its full. So you can use that until the 6th of April. Do go and make the most out of this. I'd also like to thank the ECIA Public Sector Committee members and the ECIA Eurosci Working Group for all of the time and effort that they have put into this event, but also on the content that we've been able to bring to you through the reports and the work that they've done. That's really important. And then thank you so much to Pascal and the team at ECIA for the hard work and dedication that goes into producing excellent days like this. It is a dream to have them doing all of this and all the work in the background for us. Really appreciate that. And then finally, thank you so much to you, the audience, for taking the time out to support our events. It's great that we can bring these to you, but they would be nothing without you being here, asking the questions, taking part in Slido, and making things what they are. One last thing before we go, if we could ask you to do the short survey about the event and rate the event, we'd really appreciate that. It helps us think about our formats, our content, and what you'd like to see us bring to you in future. So thank you so much for being with us today, and I hope that you found this really valuable, and we'll see you at future events. Thank you so much.